Hello and welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live. My name is Daniel Caw and I am over the moon to be joined by Record Sports Keith Jackson.
I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon that you're back.
Absolutely.
Now, these were a dangerous few days. There was a lot of rumours and counter-rumours floating about. Scott McDermott was promoting most of them. I'm so glad that you're back, Daniel, because I don't like doing the hosting, but you're better qualified. This suits everybody better.
Absolutely brilliant.
Welcome back. Glad you're feeling
much.
better.
Thank you. And my first job as host today is to welcome Andy Newport from all the way from Dingwall. Andy, how's it going?
I'm freezing. I'm absolutely freezing.
You actually look at that way. You can actually tell just from looking.
I've got a nice wee foot heater with me, but it's over there beside my laptop. So I'm looking forward to get this done, and I can go back there, finish my work, and get down the road. So there we go.
Well, obviously you're there, Andy. Rangers 3-0 winners, 3 wins in a week for Philip Clement's team. Pretty much since that Dundee United game, it's been onwards and upwards.
I think they'll be petitioning the SPFL to start the season over because all of a sudden this team looks like one that's semi-capable of achieving something this season. Yeah, I mean they're certainly moving in the right direction. It's a huge week this week, obviously. They'll have to step things up again, but in terms of just where this team's going, yeah, it certainly looks like it's heading in the right direction.
Look, Andy, nobody wants to jump the gun on this one, but I'm going to ask you: have they turned the corner? Is this a team that is now in front of our very eyes turning the corner?
In terms of being able to compete or handle the various challenges you get week to week in the SPFL, yeah, I think you'll see them navigate the bread and butter stuff with certainly more ease than they've been shown at the start of the season. You know, this is a team that had only scored 3 away goals in the entirety of the season. We're coming here today, so I think first time they scored 3 away from home in the league since the final day of last season. So yeah, that. But at the end of the day, listen, Spurs are, well, Clements just said it in his press conference there, there's a team from another league entirely.
Did he mention their budget by chance?
There was the financials were mentioned. So yeah, but obviously Celtic again. Celtic have been out of Rangers League for a good while now. So listen, yeah, in terms of the bread and butter stuff, yeah, they should. I think they'll handle that certainly better than they have done. But again, the test comes in. I mean, Thursday it's a free hit. Rangers are pretty much through to certainly the playoff stage in the Europa League. You know, this isn't a game that's really going to define whether they progress or not. The big test is Sunday because, you know, for so many reasons, Rangers have to, for Clement himself, they have to get a result at Hampden and try and show some sign of fight, show something to the supporters that this isn't a team that's just going to lie down and let Celtic ramp away to another treble to walk off with this trophy record that they're so proud of. So yeah, that's the real test come Sunday.
That's the thing, innit, Andy? Even if they have just turned the corner, they're walking straight into an oncoming bus.
Yeah.
In the shape of these 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit like Hibs at the weekend. You know, you thought they'd had a wee bit of momentum with the results they had, and then you get the worst possible fixture. Just when you're trying to build momentum, you get it going. You get the biggest test to come. So yeah, I mean, it's listen. I still think Celtic are far and away the favourites come next Sunday. But at the very least, Rangers will get the Rangers support. I've got something to cling to, some semblance of hope, because 2, 3, 4 weeks ago there was none of that. Now at least they can go, right, we've got Agamani, we've got Dingwall back. Tavernier at long last is looking like the James Tavernier that the fans have all been cheering for the last few years. So you get Raskin in the middle of the park, showing his best form since he come here. John Souttar's been probably Rangers player of the season, been you know just stoic at the back for club and for country. So there's, as I say, there's reason to have some optimism, not loads of optimism, but at least there's some.
They look so much better. They look so much better in the final third, don't they? That's where there has been an improvement over the last maybe 10 days, 2 weeks.
Definitely. I mean, like, they were so static, they were so stale going forward. Cyril Dessers, for the most part, just standing up there, not really involving himself. and teams, it was just so easy. The Rangers just played in front of teams, and all the opposition had to do was really sit in and, you know, 2 banks of 4 and just refuse to budge, and Rangers couldn't shift them. But now you've got the rotations to do. They start off with Danilo up front, Hagi off the left, Cherny off the right, and Hagi in that number 10 role. And at no point did they ever seem to stick to the sort of positions they started off at. So it was constant. They were dragging Ross County about. Ross County have had a tough time. They're sliding down the league. I think it's 3 wins all season, 2 wins in the last 11, something like that. So listen, that's not a great team again. Kelly, who they obviously scudded in the midweek, haven't had a great season either. So again, that has to be taken into account. But certainly, as I say, the signs better. I say there's still a long way to go before you can say anything about this Rangers team in terms of being competitive, but better.
Andy, let me hit you with a couple of comments from people watching. Rangers Easy OK says, good win, good performance. Things starting to look a lot better with Danilo and Hagi. Dessler's better ask Santa for a cushion for the bench. And you mentioned Tavernier there. Danny Mulgrew says, I don't care if he's scoring goals again. Tavernier should be dropped for the next 2 games without question. It is a kind of a weird one what he does with Tavernier now, isn't it?
I mean, listen, as I say, Spurs are free hit. I'm not sure quite what Luke Clement will make of that, but I think if he sends out James Tavernier to face Dyson Maeda, and Dyson Maeda does to James Tavernier what he's been doing to him of late, then Luke Clement's got absolutely nowhere to hide after that. So I think I've said previously, I think I would start Dujon Sterling there, just purely because, if you keep what is the definition of madness? Is just repeating
doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah. So there you go. So he has to change something in that front because Dyson Maeda has James Tavernier's number. So, but as for Thursday night, I mean, who knows what team Spurs will put out? I think they have been sort of changing it up for Europe. Obviously, their priority is the Premier League. They're obviously in a bit of a difficult position themselves. They're down to 11th ahead of today's game against Chelsea. So, if that goes wrong, Ange Postecoglou could be coming back to Glasgow under a bit of pressure himself. So there's lots of wee interesting aspects to this game coming up this week.
Yeah, the Tavernier one's a real big question, Andy, isn't it? Because I think everybody's been saying it. That there was a period of time that Clement had between the last Old Firm game and the cup final to find a different solution to work it out. And he's not, I think injury hasn't helped with Dujon Sterling. But you're still no way of knowing for sure who's going to play at right back. Do you not think if he's going to play Sterling in the cup final, he has to play Sterling against Spurs to try and get him up to speed? Or is it the opposite approach?
Well, given Dujon Sterling's injury record, I'm not sure that's somebody you want to
try and give 2 games, 4 days.
Obviously, he played a couple of weeks back and was decent. I obviously played in Nice. I think most people think of Dujon Sterling as a bit of a destroyer, but he had a hand in both Rangers' first 2 goals over Nice, and I thought he was excellent. So the issue he's had is a blocked nerve. I'm not sure that's something that will play too much of a part in his fitness, his overall fitness. I think that'll limit him that way. It's just whether or not he's, in terms of his sharpness, because he hasn't played that much this season. Like that game in Nice was he sort of come in for the cold a wee bit. It was a bit strange to see him come in. Obviously, it was sort of forced upon the manager because of the injury to Nana Casawiro. That's basically they're now when he did have 3 options at right back, they're now down to 2. And obviously with Tavernier's form, it felt at times it really should be a straight choice for Dujon Sterling. But again, his injury issues, his fitness issues at times have meant he's probably had to persist with James Tavernier when he wasn't fit enough. Or he wasn't playing well enough. So listen, I still think it should be Sterling on Sunday. Whether or not you risk him against Spurs and he gets a bump, and that means you're going back to Tavernier. When as I say, we've all seen what Dyson Maeda's been doing to him lately.
Andy, before we let you go and get a heat, Thomas Grimes says it was a punchline earlier this season, but signing Hagi for 1.8 million is going to turn out as one of the biggest bargains in Scottish football history. It's a bold claim, but he is starting to look good. Yeah,
listen, I was critical of the decision to sign him and not also go and get somebody who was far more reliable than Cyril Dessers, because I think that's, as I say, I think that's been Rangers' biggest fundamental issue this season is everything. Doesn't matter what you say about the right back situation, the centre back situation, the balance in midfield. Everything breaks down at the centre forward when you've not got a guy who's reliable. And
Centre forward sets the pace, sets the standard for the team. Yeah,
absolutely. So, but I think the hope was that Danilo would have been back. I think that obviously the hope, obviously came back sort of end August sort of time. They thought he was going to get going then, but then he broke down again. And I think so that's maybe complicated their planning. But listen, Clement has spoken about if they hadn't have went for Igamani this summer, they wouldn't have got him next summer. And I think you can see signs of what they're meaning by that, because the kid's got something. Definitely has something. He's got power. He's got a wee bit of trickery about him, an eye for a goal. Got lucky with a slight deflection today, but even then, I think the strike might have troubled the goalkeeper anyway. So, and just he just gives this team a focal point that they have been missing for 18 months effectively. So I think this is they've had it with flashes when Danilo was fit at times last season, but really this is there's a wee bit of else about him. I mean, I think some people have made that comparison, and they are different players and they're certainly different personalities, but there's just a wee just somebody that they can bounce the ball into him, and he's got the power and the strength to hold off challenges. There's a moment in the second half where I think it was Conor Randall. It was a 70-30 in Conor Randall's favour, and he just brushed him away and ran through him to get the ball. Played a pass into I think it was Václav Černý. So there is a wee hint of that Morelos about him that I think will bring back happy memories to the fans. Obviously the punters that were behind me just that stand over there, they sort of serenaded him with his goal with a wee chant of Igamani to the Super Ali tune. He's got a long way to go before he's at those levels, but I think
did he not know it's a silent E?
Well, I think I'm getting the pronunciation wrong as well. But I think that shows you the sort of hopes they've got from him. Just written on my match report, if they're dusting down that song, which I haven't heard too many other strikers down the years get that sort of treatment, then that tells you what they think of him.
Andy, safe travels up the road. We really appreciate you
down
joining
the road.
Down the road, sorry. We appreciate you joining us on Hotline Live.
Thanks, boys. All the best.
See you, Andy.
Cheers, Andy.
Cheers, boys.
Andy Newport there. And before we go on, Keith, I think we can hear a little bit from Philip Clement.
Okay.
Let's hear what you had to say.
A very clear victory. What's not easy in this place, and with the reputation they have this season and already last season with this manager. So well deserved. 3 really good goals. We could have scored more. We had several really good attacks also, with a few good saves of the goalkeeper. Our finishing is getting better, more shots on target. So you see the development of the team week by week, what we've been working on. All the things that 3 months ago we made mistakes in a way, 2 months ago a little bit less, 1 month ago a little bit less, and it becomes better and better that whoever we are putting, they all know their job to do on the pitch individually and collectively, and their responsibility in those things. So you see that things are starting to gel together better and better. What is a normal process, but it's massive to win these kind of games also with 3 goals difference, and to keep the clean sheet and to play a mature game like the team did. But it's because of all the things they've been through also the last couple of months to learn how to do.
Obviously, another big game the weekend coming next.
Is it? Yeah. I mean, no, but you guys, I said this now already 1 year, and it's my mindset. It's about game after game. So you can start talking about other games or the other game after Thursday. Now everything is on Thursday.
I just want to ask though that obviously some of the guys are ineligible for Europe, and so you'll have to make changes between both games. But do you have a decision to make around some of the guys about perhaps keeping them fresh for Hampden, or do you think you can go flat out with both games with everyone playing?
I see that the physical level is growing with the team. Of course, you need to be smart in moments to make decisions, to not let somebody start or to take somebody out during the game, like it was today with Václav. There was no reason totally physically that he was that tired, but he cannot play every time 90 minutes, so you need to use those moments really well. And I will do that game after game, and not only this weekend, also the weeks to come. it's the only way to keep your squad fit, to keep them on their toes also, because it's good to have this competition. I see also last couple of weeks, it's also part of the story. There's more competition in the team, and it raises the level of the team if everybody's with the right mindset, and that's the mindset is it's only about the team and not about themselves, and that they've been showing until now. I'm gonna keep a really close eye on that. That's a crucial one to have a successful team, that you can have rotation, but that everybody's pushing each other.
Before we round off on Rangers, Keith, Bill Reimer says, sad times when beating St Johnstone away, Celtic home and Ross County is lauded as a special achievement. What a fall from grace. None of this matters if we lose the cup final to them next weekend again. I'll save my plaudits for then. And the only reason I'm reading that is because, this is Rangers we're talking about. It's been a good week, but these are the games they're expected to win.
Look, do you know what the difference is? The difference is that we've been watching this Rangers side stumbling around from one iffy performance, dodgy result to the next for what seems like an eternity now. And there's been no sign, no chink of light for the Rangers supporters to say, look, I see what we're doing. I see where we're going. And this last couple of weeks has been the first moment, and I don't know if he's got there by accident more than design, Clement, because he didn't want Hagi. We've talked about that I don't know how many times. Hagi's now the key.
Yeah.
he's the key, because when you're looking at that, they were so rigid previously. Everybody knew what they were coming up against when you come up against Rangers. They were easy to play against. That's why the results were so bad. That's why they weren't scoring goals. All of a sudden, by putting Hagi into that number 10 position, he just floats around. He'll pop up out on the right-hand side. He'll pop out on the left-hand side. He'll just drop into little pockets of space in between midfield and defence. And he's a real problem for the opposition. But not only that, see, because he's making these little runs and knitting things together, he's picking little passes that are bringing other players, maybe Czerny coming in off the right-hand side, Egerman coming in off the left. They're combining. That's really difficult for a defence to play against. Whereas Rangers, previous to this, have been so easy to play against defensively. As Andy touched on, Dessers, your big centre-half, get in a battle with him. You'll occupy him. He's not going to run away from you. He probably won't win many headers. It's hard to, the ball bounces off him. He's not linking up. The thing breaks down there. I don't know how long Philippe Clement required to see that and identify that as a problem. That's a worry for me. And this is what I'm saying. Has he stumbled across this? The fact that Hagi's come back in because he was determined to get him out. Mm-hmm. And I know people say, it's a contractual thing. Well, okay. Clement went on record as saying this guy's not good enough to play as a number 10 for Rangers now, and he's not going to be. He wrote him off.
He did.
And he had him training with the kids. Do you know something? It speaks volumes for Yanis Hagi's personality and his professionalism that he was prepared to just knuckle down, work hard. Everything I was hearing was he was first in, last out at the training ground. This is when he's training with the kids. He didn't want to come off in the B team games. He was moaning if he get substituted. He just wanted to play and wanted to prove that, if this guy gives me a chance, I can do something for him. Mm-hmm. Now, it shouldn't have taken Philippe Clement all that amount of time to work that out either. He shouldn't have insulted him the way that he did. But, now, Hagi's been left out of the European squad, obviously. He made this curious decision not to put Danilo in his European squad, even though it was estimated that he would be back ready to play around about this point in the campaign.
That's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
It doesn't make, but there's so many things that don't make any sense.
No.
However, that all said, he is where he is. Whether he planned this or not, it's starting to work. Rangers look like a different team in the final third of the pitch, and that will make them more competitive. Mm-hmm. Is it enough? Do they have enough quality to go into the two games that they're about to go into? Probably not, especially when Danilo and Hagi won't be anywhere near the Spurs game. The flip side of that, of course, they'll be fit, fresh and firing for Sunday in the cup final. I just think that's what I said there. I wasn't joking. Sometimes your timing's bad, isn't it? And Rangers are just starting to click a little bit, just starting to show signs of where they might get to if he sticks with this. And as I said, turn a corner, walk straight into a bus.
Yeah.
Because everything that they're building right now, the feel-good factor, the confidence, the fans are starting to enjoy it again, that goes out the window. It's absolutely steamrollered if they get 2 really difficult results in the next, in the space of the next 6 days. So, it is, I mean, look, we said it Thursday night. It is fascinating. It is really fascinating. And the fact that Rangers have gone, now bear in mind, this is the Rangers side, as Andy said, 4 months, 3 goals away from home in the league. Well, they've backed up the Kilmarnock result by going to Ross County, where they've found it difficult previously. They've helped themselves to 3 goals. These forward players that we're talking about are actually starting to get the score sheet. That makes them a different proposition, but I'm just not sure they're anywhere near ready for what's about to hit them.
Darren Barnes says, Keith, I agree with you. Everything spot on. Darren, we can get yourself a lie down. We're now joined all the way from Zagreb by the one and only.
All the way. This time it works.
All the way from Zagreb by the one and only Craig Swan. Swanee, how's it going?
Good lads, how are you?
Thank you for holding on there. We appreciate it. Well, we got a Rangers chat out the way. It looks lovely.
Yeah, it's been a location nightmare with a lovely place in the town square to speak to you guys from. Unfortunately, it's blowing an absolute gale, so there'll be no chance of doing that. Then I've been allowed to come to the top floor of a hotel to give you a lovely backdrop of downtown Zagreb, but sadly you detained Andy Newport so long in Dingwall that it's getting dark and you can't see everything. So,
that's right. When we
and I think I'm about to be thrown out by the head chef. So let's make this snappy.
You're right, Swanee. Just before the show came on, you joined and it was absolute daylight out there, and it's plunged into darkness.
I thought I'd done brilliantly. I thought it was standing work on behalf of my employers, and now it's just gone. It's just dark. So I'm just sat in my bedroom.
No, it's very scenic.
It's lovely. You're obviously there, Swanee, ahead of Celtic playing Denny.
No, he's not. He's in Ayrshire now.
On Tuesday night, it's an early kickoff as well. Obviously, a perfect kind of setup for Celtic against Hibs yesterday. Is that fair to say?
I probably didn't feel that perfect setup after 90 seconds when Kukarevich was running clean through and Kasper Schmeichel. No, yeah, I mean I felt it was a strange game actually to watch and to report on. It was, Hibs had massive chances in the first half. Unusual amount of chances for Celtic to give up in any domestic, let alone in their own patch. But then you glanced in at your notes and you realise that Celtic had a bad load of chances at the other end as well, without playing particularly well. So it was in patches going forward. So it was an odd game at times to really judge it. I don't know. Listen, Celtic have got a mantra where every game's crucial, and every game is crucial, and they play every game at 100 mile an hour. But I don't know. Just it felt to me yesterday a wee bit as though Pittodrie was such a massive game, such a big game. Zagreb, the cup final, felt like a bit of a box ticking day yesterday. And Hibs almost made them pay a little bit in the first half, but Celtic just have got such strength in their squad that they could just make changes in the second half. And like I say, they had their own chances in the first half. I mean, Kukarevich, these 2 1-on-1s with Kasper Schmeichel, he's got to score at least one of them. Joe Newell's got a massive chance, but as I say,
he's got to score that one, Swanee, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Arne Engels has scored. Luke McCown's hit the bar. Adam Ida's missed 2 snaps before half time. So, I mean, Celtic could have scored any number of goals as well. So, perfectly adequate afternoon's work.
Jim Devaney mentioned Schmeichel, saying what a signing Schmeichel has turned out to be. He saved us today. And I saw a debate raging on social media. I don't know what you guys think of this. But in terms of actual quality, what's the word? Kind of X factor attributes, Schmeichel is probably right up there with the best signings since Henrik Larsson. Really?
Wow.
I think he is up there, really. I think he's a genuinely world-class goalie.
He is.
Yeah, I wouldn't dispute that.
I wouldn't dispute that for a second. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just like exactly the same as what happened when Joe Hart walked in the door. Experience, confidence, leadership. The only thing about Kasper Schmeichel is he's slightly more calm Sometimes in his demeanour when the ball used to go back to Joe, I think Joe Hart, panic used to spread around the stands at Celtic Park. You don't get that when Kasper Schmeichel's
because he's
involved.
better with the ball at his feet, Swanee, and that is such a massive thing. And by the way, look, no, this isn't going to turn into a throw custard pies at Joe Hart, but that was Joe Hart's problem under Pep at Man City. He couldn't be trusted with the ball at his feet. Kasper Schmeichel is the opposite. I actually genuinely believe it's an upgrade. And that's not to take away from Joe Hart in the slightest.
Yeah, and I do think that we fall into the trap sometimes because of Joe Hart's deficiencies, and he did improve with the ball at his feet, but of course Kasper Schmeichel's an upgrade in that front. But we talk quite a lot about influence. I'm guilty of it myself, influence, ball at his feet, and getting moves started. You forget he's an absolutely wonderful shot stopper.
Great shot stopper.
And again, if you didn't know that, you only had to watch the game yesterday. I mean, who's to say, listen, Celtic have got such power. Kukurevich could have scored in the first 90 seconds, and Celtic could have fought, but come back 1-6-1 quite easily. You know, if they turned up the power. But you don't know that, and you don't, if you're Celtic, really want to find out what the situation would have been. So when a goalkeeper who can go long periods of a game and not have much to do can then pull out top quality saves like that. It's a man coming with a trolley, by the way. That's a head chef just coming with the starters. Not for me, I hasten to add. It's far too expensive for the likes of me up here.
Swanee, is there a hint of concern? I mean, look, we know what the conditions were like at Pittodrie, which meant it became a bit of a battle rather than a proper football match. Not easy for Celtic to play their style up against that, but they battled through it, which was, a massive tick in the box. But I just wonder, is there just a little bit drop off in terms of the standard of performances over the last, and is that a concern, or do you just think if you're making the amount of changes that he's making from game to game, there is going to be maybe communication issues at the back that left him a bit exposed against Hibs? Is that all just par for the course, or is there a concern that they might just be dipping a little bit from where they were 3, 4, 5 weeks ago?
I think concern would be the wrong word. Has it been as free-flowing and spectacular in the last 2 games and what it has been was against, say, Aberdeen at Hampden or St Johnstone McDermott Park?
Yeah.
But it's a 60-game season, and this is what Celtic are so good at, that they find different ways to win. The majority of teams in the country, when they hit their straps, they can do all right. They have an off day. You've seen it with Rangers this season. They have an off day. Gone. Points dropped. That doesn't happen with Celtic. They manage to keep on it. And they're not going to play brilliantly all the time. So, to me, it would be the opposite to a concern, to be perfectly honest with you. That they're able to mix and match. Bodies are going to be fresh. I heard you lads speaking there about the 2 Rangers boys who won't be available to play in Europe in midweek, and they'll be fresh for Hampden on Sunday for the cup final. So they've been able to mix and match and move players around and give people don't like doing it the old sci-fi stuff, but manage minutes, game time, load, all of that stuff. But listen, Celtic just have an ability when it comes to when they really need it to really spark and really fire, and I would expect that to happen again. Do
you know the thing is, Swanee, it's really interesting that you're saying all that, and there's one player that very rarely gets the rest, and that's the captain. I thought he was absolutely outstanding again at the weekend. I just love watching him. And I was talking there previously about Hagi being a really gifted guy, intelligent football player, knows where the space is, drifts into it. Cal McGregor spent the whole afternoon doing that again against Hibs. He's different class. He's if you're a young kid and you're trying to learn how to play the midfield position, you could do a lot worse than just sitting and just watching tapes of him. I thought he was different class. And in a very quiet way, but I just thought he controlled it.
He did, absolutely. And listen, I don't think it would be overcritical to say that it wasn't the greatest day for Arne Engels and Luke McCowan. He did okay. But at the levels that Paulo Bernardo and Rio Hatate have been operating at in the previous matches, they maybe just didn't get to that level yesterday. So that was maybe where it was a slight issue for Celtic. But Callum McGregor's standards don't drop.
Well, that's the thing. If you're Arne Engels or Luke McGowan, I mean, that's the constant reminder, isn't it? That's your measuring stick. You look over your shoulder, you see what he's doing. You have to perform at that level week in, week out, and Cal McGregor demands that of his teammates as a captain. He's
And
different.
incidentally, those boys are absolutely due a game where they're not 8, 9 out of 10, you know, because they've been terrific. And Arnie Engels is selling out in a new country, and there's been a lot of debate over him. Luke McCowan, just everything he's touched has been gold since he's come to Celtic. It wasn't as good as he has been yesterday, but he still hit the crossbar. He still provided the set piece for the second goal, so he's still contributing. He's still doing things, and I would expect Celtic to be right back at it when it really counts over the next week or so.
Before we let you go, Swanee, a couple of other wee things that I want to touch on. Falcon writes in saying, my concern is why Brendan tinkers with a backline in European weeks. Trying to get 2 out of 3 defenders without CCV is not the best approach to a big midweek tie. And John Pearson similarly says, another solid victory, 3 points closer to 4 in a row, but it was a little concerning how much we missed CCV yesterday. So do we have any indication, is he likely to come back in for Tuesday night's game?
Yeah, I mean, it was an unused sub yesterday, but this is the point. Cameron Carter-Vickers has had injury problems over the last year or so, and the whole luxury, the whole ability to be able to play Austin Trusty and Liam Scales. I mean, the two boys didn't have a great day yesterday with the chances that Hibs had, but look at Bergamo. When Celtic at that point at Atalanta, the two of them were outstanding. The two of them are good players. Brendan Rodgers made a point yesterday that it wasn't actually all about the defending. It was the press was wrong further up the pitch, and that's why Hibs were able to make the passes that they were. So you can't just point the fingers at the lads at the back for the chances that Hibs got. But to get back to your point, Morris, having Cameron and Carter-Vickers an opportunity to give him an afternoon off, to then have him ready for Zagreb and ready for Hampden in a cup final. That's the luxury that Brendan Rodgers has been aiming for. And of course, if you take your best defender out of the team, your defence isn't going to be as good as it was. But it's still good enough to get the job done.
By the way, we can't have this conversation without asking Swanee. Swanee, you want to talk me through Kyogo's goal? By the way,
I was going to say that now.
Oh my God!
Genuinely,
that was a thing of beauty, wasn't it?
Genuinely world class.
Yeah. I mean, the take was good enough. To then sit the goalkeeper was good enough, and to then lift it, and then it was just outstanding. And
to roll all three into one move.
I have to say, it's Celtic Rangers games in Hampden Park are Kyogo's business. That's where he comes to the party. And you just looked at that yesterday and thought, it looks like
sharpening his tools.
Sharpening the tools, yeah.
He put on his Instagram last night, I will try and do better in the game next week. So you already feel like he is looking forward to it. But I think, honestly, I know it's might sound like a bit of an exaggeration, but the way he took that ball, there's few strikers in world football could do that. I mean,
it's the imagination to even think about doing it as that ball is in the air coming towards him, to be mentally sharp enough to think that's what I'm going to do, and then to have the actual talent set required to pull it off. It was a stunning moment. It really was. I wonder though, Swanee, if Adamida might lead the line in Zagreb and Kyogo might get the chance to rest his legs, specifically with Hampden in mind. And I just think as well, the Bergamo sort of template that Brendan Rodgers used, I wonder if you might see something similar tomorrow night. Tuesday night.
To pick up on point one, I don't think there would be any sense of resting anyone's legs in a Champions League tie. I don't think that's how Brendan Rodgers would think. I don't think he would be looking towards Hampden when he's got a Champions League tie. I don't think that. To your second point, I don't disagree that he may go for Adamida, because to an extent it did work in Bergamo. And actually, when the game got, when Atalanta's players got a little bit tired towards the end, or they put a lot into the game, Kyogo actually got some joy when he came on.
Yeah.
Late in that game, so Adamida, yes, he might start, but I don't think it would have anything to do with Hampden. I think it would be a tactical thing.
No, that's fair. Aye.
Rather than any eyes to listen. I think that having the game on the Tuesdays is a bonus for Celtic, especially with the cup final being on a Sunday. Yeah. It's a good 5 days. It's Wednesday will be a rest day, obviously, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday will be full working, freshening up working days. So they've got that. I know it's travel, and I know Rangers are at home, but Rangers are Thursday night. So no, I think the planning, the resting for I'm using the wrong phrase here, not resting, but managing the squad to have them at peak for the cup final would have happened maybe in the games that you've seen in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Ross County at home, Hibs yesterday, guys would have been left out, Cameron Carter-Vickers, maybe that kind of thing. I don't think that would come into the thinking for a Champions League tie away from home.
I guess time will tell. Swanee, we really appreciate you joining us on the Hotline Live. I dare say over the next day or two, I will be pestering you to get you back on again at some point.
Okay.
So if we do have you back on, looking forward to it.
Look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Cheers,
See you later, Swanee.
Cheers.